up so it's very loud. And I'd like to welcome you, Dr. Liu. Actually, I think Dr. Liu saved my life. I don't think I'd be alive today were it not for him. Yeah. And another practitioner from the clinic, Patrick. So welcome also, Patrick.
Good morning, seekers.
Good morning.
Well, I can talk many things, or I can talk the things that you would want to know about traditional Chinese medicine, about healing, about however it is. And Haru, how do you want me to start? And do you want to ask questions, or do you want to, what do you want? There's so many things are so interesting to talk about. What do you all want to know? I can talk about the fire horse. I can talk about what that means. I can talk about the elements. I can talk about...
Yeah, see, he's very talented in 10 directions. Well, when I asked you the last time I saw you at the clinic, I said, what you would really like to talk about, Dr. Liu? And you said, health.
Yeah.
So I have a bunch of questions that I would like to ask.
Okay.
So, and then I know all of these people have responded and asked questions and talk and all the time. So we'll then turn it over to questions. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Is that okay, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Dr. Liu, you know, one of the things that somebody said to me, and it's how I got to you, was, I think Dr. Liu would be a good fit for you. And I didn't know what that meant until, well, you helped me a lot, but you also had spent so much time in a monastery, a Buddhist monastery. And I'm wondering if you can start by telling us a little bit about your background that way, and what that monastery is like, that's 6 miles that people used to have to walk the last distance to get there.
So, in my tradition, that my monastery is a pure healing monastery. Well, in the East, our tradition is that we really don't do a lot of teaching, and but rather our focus is health, is healing. So our tradition, we use mostly Taoist and traditional Chinese medicine, and Taoist medicine, and Buddhist medicine, and also Indian medicine, and so a combination of all the healing traditions. So our tradition, our monastery is only 1,600 years old. So that considered in the East, considered to be, we are a very young monastery, because there are some monasteries that they are 3,000 or 4,000 years old. To talk about that, and when I first came to this country, that was 30-some years ago. So I have a group of dear friends, we're still dear friends, and they took me to Boston, and we walked in the rain for 2 hours to get a house that was about 150 years old. So they were very excited to say, well, you know, look, this is really an old house. So I bowed, and I really enjoyed it and appreciated it, and then I took them to China, and I introduced one of the temples. I said, oh, well, this is a young temple, it's only 2,500 years old. So I think that it's just a little bit of interpretation of tradition and time. So in our tradition, the monks that they will go out, they will seek, because we have monastery that is for monks, and we have nunnery, which is about 10 miles away from our monastery, and they have healing nuns, and they're awesome OBs really, and midwives. So in our tradition, so the monks that they will go and they will seek, what they feel is that less than 1% of the young boys that they have certain elements in them that can be trained. Pretty much like a service dog, really. So once they find that, and they will bow to each other, and they will start training. So I started my training when I was 3.5 years old. And I actually finished my medical school. I was in med school when I was 15.5. I finished my medical school before I finished training with the monks. That's how long it took them. But anyways, so I never intended to leave, but knowing my calling is out here. So you could never really leave, right, because your heart is connected. But physically, I'm out in the world, giving my service to seekers. So my training is that I trained in healing, really, how to help people to regain health. I also was trained in medical school as a general surgeon. So, because in monastery, we also do surgery if it's needed as well. So, but that was a minor part. So, medicine is, for us, is a way of life. The most important thing is we understand the rhythm of nature. There is that rhythm you have to follow. I think in modern society, people made many attempts to walk away from truth, to walk away from that rhythm. That is unwise. Because there is a rhythm. We are nature. Nature is within us. We are a part of nature, and we are nature. We are each other, and we are connected. So to understand that rhythm, to flow with that rhythm, we call Tao. That really is the deep understanding of how the flow is. We say 5,000 years ago, Huangdi, which I will come to that story as well, says that really you have to follow that rhythm of Tao, that rhythm of nature. Once you do, then I think that together we can really promote health. So I guess that's my story.
Well, I have a list of questions, but does someone here have one? Oh, yes, please. Akshay. Oh,
I can pass the mic.
Or we can just shout.
Dr. Lu, could you describe the process of training from 3 to 15.5? What was that like? What was your schedule like? Was it experiential? Were there books? What was the curriculum? What was the form of training?
So we believe the training has to be started young, because once you reach puberty, you lose a lot of potentials. So the first 10 years of training, I didn't even know I was learning, or rather the first 8 years of training, I didn't even know I was learning medicine. So we went out in the field. My masters will teach me. The first thing is they teach us is that, so I have 8 monks that they are assigned as my teachers because I was trained as a diagnostician. So a different group of monks, we have different trainings. Diagnostician, procedure monks, farming monks, cooking monks, the monks that will make because we have everything is where we are a beehive, right? We are very sufficient. So we have our own food, we have our bees, everyone, the building monks, and they do all the buildings and they fix things. And so each group, we play together, right? We have our games together, is that we have our own horses, we have our ox, and we, as young monks, and you basically take care of them. That is your playtime. So we get up at 5:30, 5:45. We have our morning routine, and I still do those routine, that from head to toe, the massage and meditation and all these, and then we eat in silence, and after that we break silence and we shall start with our study, and then we have lunch, and then we meditate, and we see patients. Since I was very early on, they start to, just by them doing, for me to watch. And then they teach me how to chant. I didn't know I was chanting formulas. So it was very natural. The learning was very natural. I remember we never really sit long, and we always, even when we sit, we learn like this way. We say, 三字经百家姓. It just they have a lot of learning comes natural, and then you see patients, and then they begin to ask you, so where are the black spots? So you will look at them, and you will see. You just see them, and then you will dot them. And then the monks will do treatment, and then you understand, oh, the goal is to make those black spots blue. And then they will ask you, so what is this color? What is it? Is the element? What is it? And then you begin to understand energy. So that part, I believe, have to be taught before you reach your puberty. Then comes natural. And then after a certain age, then you begin to look at patients and study cases, and you begin to read history and see, let's say, treating diabetes. When was the first case of diabetes, right? How in Tang Dynasty diabetes was treated? How that was 1,500 years back? How is in Song Dynasty diabetes is treated? What were the diet before? What was the movements people had before? What may cause that? What was the treatment? What worked? What didn't? So then you have this variety of illnesses, and you study, and you go back, and then you look at the present. Then you become aware what's going on. So that was a part of my training. And the other thing is training with hands. We do a lot of training with hands, and sometimes I have my complaints as, oh, people are not good with their hands anymore. So because we have very detailed training with our hands. One of the things we do, we always have a pair of walnuts, and I believe Patrick, he has a pair. So when we Hadu has a pair, so then you practice your hands, you practice your brain, because there's a lot of connection, right? And then when you see, you want, try your parents. If they are older, shake their hands, ask them to grasp you. You will know where they are at with their health. So I don't know if that answers your question.
It's been a little while since I've been over to work on your jungle in your backyard. And I would like you to address the elements. That's going to be a theme throughout the Earth Day week that we're going to be doing end of April. The elements in the body, and they're represented in the physical environment as well.
So we may not have time to go into details with everything, but I can start with the spring is coming, and the element of spring is what? Who can give me an intelligent guess? It's all good, but spring we focus on the element of wood. Right, there are 5 elements. So the element of wood that represents spring. So spring has this flavor of everything is begin to awakening. If you go to your garden or a field or come to my jungle, like you said, you will see every day there's difference. Every day things are popping up slowly. And that's life. That's spring. That the wood, that energy cannot be suppressed, right? So that in springtime, right, we encourage parents to let their kids run wild, let them laugh, let them look at the trees, let them grow like grass, like trees, right? Remember the wood element that need to be encouraged, right? That's in the human body, that is what? What? That's your liver. So the liver has a character of the wood, cannot be put in the boxes. In springtime, in our monastery, we let go of the buildings. We don't teach inside. We go outside. We begin to really see identify the herbs and work with our hands in soil. And we learn that way, right? Because that spring is a time for a lot of laughter. Spring, a lot of time for growth. Spring cannot, but people at the same time, if people have liver problems, right? A lot of people, how people drive nowadays, I often says, you need a liver cleanse, right? Because they're angry, right? If liver get suppressed, what are the symptoms? Anger, frustration, and very strong emotions. So what do we do when people have that? You let them look at the trees. That's that simple. You let them use their eyes, right? We say when liver wants a break, what do? We do this. When you close your eyes, your liver is taking a break. Your liver is saying, oh, thank you, because liver is working really hard for you. So when you open your eyes, then your liver is working alert. So then give your liver a break from time to time. Just close your eyes. Give yourself a minute to breathe, to rest your eyes. So what is one of the worst thing you can do? It's a lot of screen time. So I believe we've seen a lot of young people in our clinic. And our clinic, we have, it's called Dr. Lu's Nourishing Life. We have now close to, I believe, Patrick, close to 7,000 patients. So a lot of young people. Why? It's because I think they spend way too much time to damage their liver system, to watch the screen, the phones. We're not designed to do that. We can't take it. So that's the spring element. That's the liver. And I can go on and on and on. Stop me, please. Because this year is a fire horse. Who wants to know about a white fire horse? Go ahead, ask questions. Yes.
I was actually going to ask just that, if you could speak on the significance of the Year of the Fire Horse and how it relates to this current cycle of chaos we're in.
But the cycle of chaos, it comes and goes every so often, and we say that the reason the seekers are, there's two concepts, right? We call that 大周天. 大周天 is the collective, big collective energy as the world energy. And we also call that 小周天. 小周天 is for seekers. It's in our monastery, we always have 850 monks, and we always have a lot of seekers. But the people, they come in mostly for health-related challenges, or because we do say that. We say 从医入道, through this type of medicine and healing, you shall find truth, however that truth is to you. So every 250 years, there is a turn. And I really do think that, this is this land, it's old land, but this country is a young country. So a lot of learning, right? You cannot, there's an old say, we say, when you go through, we call that a neck period, right? You have a battle period, and then you go through the neck period. The neck period is really for the seekers. It's for people who seek well-being, physical, spiritual, psychological, and financial, and with boundaries and with contentment. And they will glide through that neck period. If people are not seekers, then they will have different behaviors. And in monastery, we will say, we wish you well, but we are not trained to be a part of that energy. So fire horse is every 60 years, and we have a horse that is a fire horse. Horse has a lot of fire already, because Wuma is between 11 to 1. That period of time is we call that the time of horse, right? That's your heart. So that's already a lot of fires going, because the heart, the element of heart is fire. So, and then you have double fire, so that can lead to a lot of momentum. And but when you build up the momentum, or what you're building up, that depends on however people's karma. It's not our healers can decide. But we're here this year, and our clinic, and we will see more of anxiety, because when you have double horse and people are anxious, and we will see, but we will see, well, on the positive side, you are building momentum. You begin to understand life. You begin to really seek for understanding of things, and you are more aware. So that's on the positive side. On the negative side, people may experience more anxiety, because you have double fire. We call that can lead to not genuine fire. Then people will need to really watch for their blood pressure and for their cholesterol, and stroke will be rising this year. So we have to make sure people are, we already in our clinic doing with a lot of my older patients, although young women and young men they're stroked out. I've never seen this in my almost 55 years practice. So just a lot of momentum build change, but the change has to be within boundaries. Otherwise, it's called chaos. So, and by the way, I don't have answers. We're just chatting.
I'm really curious, based on what you just shared about the fire horse, if you could talk about other times in history, or especially China's history, of when there was a fire horse and what was happening in society with the big energy and what was happening for people's health. I would love to know more about past fire horses.
Okay, so how far do you want to go? So the first fire horse period of time is the time that Lao Tzu lived. So there we go, Google Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu was one of the founders or discoverers of yin and yang, right? We all know that symbol. What does that mean? Who can tell me what it means? It means, yes? You cannot have one without another, right? So in our tradition, in the tradition of healing, we don't have good and bad. We have what is timely, what is not. If winter comes in summer, it's not timely, it's not good, right? If winter comes in winter, that is good. Harsh winter, not harsh winter, it's all good, but they have to come timely, that fit, right? So then you have the flow. We say, 法于阴阳. The rhythm comes with yin and yang. So how many elements are in yin and yang? Who can tell me? In the yin and yang, we say yin yang, that how many elements are in the yin yang part? Yin. Excellent answer. There's three. That's yin, yang, and space. That's the space is where medicine happens. Right? You have the energy of yin, right? That's the more feminine energy. The moon, you have the water, you have energy of yang, the sun, and the more of what's the opposite of yin is yang, is more strong. But you must have space, otherwise you can't move. Without the space, there will be no healing. Without the space, there will be movement. Without the movement, what doesn't move? The corpse doesn't move. What does move? Everything that have life moves. You move through the space. That's where a lot of people say, well, acupuncture happens in fascia, right? The fascia is the space. So a lot of people ask me, look at me like, well, I said, I'm not a wizard, I'm just a trained practitioner, right? If you understand that, it's not so mysterious anymore. Everything is actually very simple. So, am I answering your question? So, fire horse. So the first period of fire horse happened in Lao Tzu's time. Lao Tzu, well, we could say he was a historical figure, he was however it was, but he was the discoverer of yin and yang. And he spent a lot of energy trying to help people to balance, to understand the rhythm of nature. So he said the Tao can be named, is not genuine Tao, right? And when we say Dao ke Dao, Fei Chang Dao, the truth cannot be taught. You have to have the experience to flow with it. And what I can tell you is not, it's already lost the meaning. Because the words has very little meaning, which that's how we feel. So, and so he said something. He said, well, when people ask him about government, right? He said the worst leader is people despise them, and then the better leaders and people fear them, and then the other level people love them. But the best leaders, you don't even know they're there. They take no credit. They understand the flow. That's how you govern. So that's how our monastery works. So when I came out from monastery, I understand the world is not how, it doesn't operate that way. So to answer your question, after Lao Tzu, after the fire horse, and the world did not take Lao Tzu's advice, the world back then, there was this small central kingdom, because China wasn't that big yet. We're talking about 3,000 years back. So there was 200 years of war. So during that time, 80% of the population were gone. So that was a neck period. So then throughout history, you have other times of fire horse, but each fire horse is building a momentum of change. Tang Dynasty, 1,500 years back, and that it was another fire horse time. The momentum were built to change. So recently, there was late Qing Dynasty in 1840, there was a change as well. So that was the last one. So now it's happening again.
How about some practical guidelines for good health?
Good. So what do we want to know?
Well, you said you're working with 7,000 people, and you've seen lots of other people. So what are you seeing where good health methods are being
So it's really traditional Chinese medicine, or our practice, is a way of life, right? Let's go back to Huangdi. Huangdi is Yellow Emperor who lived in 2,500 years ago, and he wrote a book, or 5,000 years ago now. And he wrote a book about Yellow Emperor's internal medicine, right, in there, and he clearly stated what we should do. I think that still stands true.
So what are some of those things?
So he says, 法于阴阳 is that we must learn and understand the way of life, the flow of energy. That's 法于阴阳. That's 法于阴阳. We understand what is it is the flow. 合于术数. Once you understand that, people create different methods, try to really get themselves into the flow, such as yoga, such as breathing, right? Such as relaxation, right? So these are all such as movements, right? We can show you one of the movements. Do you want to see one of the movements? Okay, so Patrick, I will let you show them the first of 10 energy movements, and I will explain. So, well, we will explain, and then you can follow. Okay, so, so you see, we call that the horse stand, right? And you have your legs shoulder width, right? And then as you see that your feet are like, they are the roots of the soil. You get the roots of the tree in the soil. That's how you stand, right? You stand strong and in a relaxed way, right? And then you put your hands like, okay, so now what we're doing yin and yang together. So that's your heart and kidney together to create a 心肾相交, the heart and kidney together. That will help you to have less anxiety and sleep better and poop better as well. And then you go slowly from your dantian, right? That's your 下焦, triple burner. That's a very important concept in our medicine. Fascia, right? That's more than connective tissue. That is the boundary of the body, right? And you from lower dantian slowly moving up. You're opening up the 3, burners. And then also this part is what? This part, you open up this part, you're opening up your liver and your spleen energy. And then you're moving up, right? And then we say 双手托天理三焦. Then we open up this part. And then you see the hands, slowly we let the boundary, we help to create a healthy boundary. Then now we're opening up your energy, balance the energy through the hands, right? And then we create this little boundary. That's your energy field going down, right? And then now we have yin and yang because you just created your circle, right? You create your circle and then you're doing that again. You are now opening up your fascia here. That's your pericardium. That will help to protect your heart and protect your lungs, right? Now your diaphragm, and then that will help you to digest better, right? And then from again, you're doing this. If you do the 10 energy movements, that you move your energy, right? You move your energy, and also you open up different part of your system, right? Now you opening up your spine, right? Because that is, everybody is talking about the stem cell research. This is the cheapest stem cell exercise you can do, right? People pay so much money to do things. It's quite interesting. They think that must work better. Let me tell you, all these great things are simple and mostly free. So that's the first element movements, and we have 10, right? And you did chanting, but do you understand when you chant it doesn't really matter. Language is it doesn't matter. But what you're doing, right? You are correcting your frequency. That's what you're doing, right? That's what you're doing. I don't know if you know what you're doing, but that's what you're doing. So the ups and downs and those sound, because each of the there are 5 basic sound. Each of the basic sound, that's how they use it in music, right? You have 5 and you have 7. The 5 is the basic. That's why in Guzheng, in the old original healing tools, that music is 5 sound. It's very simple, and then things get more complicated, right? So that's what you're doing. That's why the chanting is important, because you're opening up your organs. So that's what you do, is we say you understand the flow of nature, and then you choose a method that you feel that will be most beneficial for you, like yoga, like energy movements, to move, right? And then we say 起居有常, you must rise and sleep in the regular times, right? There are times you should go to bed, and there are reasons why, right? There are times you should get up, and there's reasons why. You can't just say, I decide to do this. Well, you could say that, but it won't work. So, and then 食饮有常, you need to know what to eat, how much to eat, when to eat, and why. So, and then 不忘坐牢. When you work, you may use your physical labor, but you may not damage your heart system. That means the anxiety and depression actually shouldn't come from what you do or who you are. So these are the basic things. These are the things we promote in our clinic, and we teach people how to do, and we give them homeworks, and we give them dietary guidelines, we give them a little bit of things to do, and before you know it, and they have a lifestyle change. That really is what medicine is. So, and I think that, I don't know who gives people that idea that people are above nature or are the smartest in nature, and these are the things will not benefit. If you know my cat, you will know how much smarter she is compared to me. So these are the things that I think is just out of, I don't know, ego probably. So it's just, we are just a part of the flow. And then a lot of people ask me, oh wow, you're trained as a diagnostician, you must be great. I like to think that, but no, I'm trained as a diagnostician. That's all. I know what I know. In our clinic, they know what they know. And we flow together, don't we, Patrick? So once you have the flow, you have harmony, then you have peace. Then that's fun.
What about specifically mental health? Because it seems to be such an issue.
Yes, mental health really is the disorganization of physical health. That's what when people come in for anxiety, we ask, so how's your pooping? What do you mean by that? I'm anxious. Okay. But did you let the shit go? Because that helps. So.
There are a lot of things that we know about lifestyle now that were not realized before. Changing lifestyle is the most effective way to slow down dementia,
Yes.
slow down loss of memory.
Yes.
A lot of things that you're talking about were developed many years ago, and they've changed with time.
Yes.
But the environment has changed a whole lot. There are also a lot of things which have changed. I mean, like whether it's what viruses and bacteria are around. There's this pharmaceutical thing, okay, which is probably able to do some things but not do everything. But how do you incorporate any of the things that have been learned recently about environment, like pollutants, or things having changed with being able to X-ray someone and see something actually, or MRI or something like that? Are there any parts of modern medicine that you think are valuable and you might practice?
So the best practice is always integrative medicine, right? Like I said, in my early years, I used to do surgery. I think that surgery, and my mother, she was a very, very, very good cardiosurgeon. So there's a lot of valuable assets that in Western medicine, in surgery, in those imaging, and that is definitely we should only if necessary, right? When that becomes necessary, then we encourage people to be a part of it, and we are a part of it. That's really old medicine. It's a transformation of time. So there's no old or new. There's integration of everything. But what we need to tease out is that what is necessary, what is not, right? So dementia. So let's say we see a lot of people after COVID have dementia-like symptoms. Why? And I think that seeing enough cases, we understand that, because there are certain proteins in human body has act in a way we never seen that before. So, but what does the Western medicine can offer? What does the Eastern medicine can offer? So our success lays on when we understand through data to understand, and then to understand how to treat it. We treat it through acupuncture and through herbs and other things. But when it's needed, I say, I have a clot in my brain. So then what do, right? You can, that's why you go to emergency room and they have declotting medicines for you, right? And then working together, but we have to understand is that the more we pollute, the worse we all will get. We have only that much of resource. We have only that much of things that we can all get. If without contentment with all these things, what we feel is, this is great and that is great, and it's MRI and CT scan. Each CT scan people take, 1 out of 3,000, the CT scan will lead to cancer because of the chemicals. Some people cannot take it. Most people can. That's why it's 1 out of 3,000. Are you the one, or are you the rest of it? People are likely to be the rest of it. So what is necessary to use? What is not? So that is something that if we are more educated about our health, we can help with the physicians to determine that. Correct? I don't know if what I say makes sense, but that's what we do in our clinic, and that we definitely work with, because our clinic is the only clinic that University of Michigan and Trinity and will refer their patients to. So, yeah. Okay, all right.
I was wondering how you decide on diagnosis and treatment for people. I find in Western medicine, they often say you treat the symptoms, not the illness. And with that, they'll do 1,000 tests on you, ask you all these questions, and then still not really have much of an idea of what exactly they're treating. So I was wondering how you do that. So how to diagnose people, that need years and years and years and years of training. So we have basic diagnostic tools and skills and methods we use to determine where is the imbalances. So it's not something we can answer in 3 or 5 sentences, but it's no difference than than collecting data, because your body, human body, is made out of energy, right? So when we look at you, we understand which part of the flow is out of flow. So then that gives us a good idea about where to start.
So, and then, of course, we will have the communication. We'll look at the hair, we'll look at your skin, we'll look at your tongue, we'll look at your nails, we'll look at how your body smell like, and we'll palpitate. And it's with a variety of things get together, then you understand, okay, so this is the problem, and this is the direction we should go to get you from here to there. So I don't know if that answer your question. So.
I think I heard that sometimes Dr. Lu's diagnostics are better than the MRI and some of the machines. Yeah.
Because you do see things, right? The MRI, then these are tools. Is that just don't forget these are tools we use, and it's up to because we need to know our body, and that's what I think is missing. I think modern society people no longer know their body. So.
We need to see
Yes, we.
schedules and also Dr. Lu's. What was I going? We have some announcements.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
do those.
I got a board too.
Okay, thank you for joining us today. We always look forward to seeing you and welcome visitors. These are offered every Sunday at 10 a.m. Families are always welcome, but especially the second Sunday of the month, we have our families program where we have a talk that's geared to children, and then we split off into age groups. And there's also a mindful parenting group that meets at the same time. So April 12th will be the next one of those services. At 2 p.m., we're going to gather back here in the Buddha Hall for an observance. This is an opportunity to talk about and work with the Buddhist precepts as they apply to our own life experiences. Parinirvana Day will be March 29th. It's an important Buddhist holiday commemorating the Buddha's death and his transition to complete nirvana, and to remember his teachings. Together Action is every Saturday from 3 to 5. Community building event, and we take care of the temple buildings and grounds and other miscellaneous. Next week this is new, starting this month. There's going to be a Sangha tea every third Sunday right after the service. Meet informally with advisory council members and teachers to reflect on the morning service, talk, and learn the temple mission and programs, and share ideas about what's next. There's an evening sitting for the Sangha every Wednesday evening from 6:30 to 8:30. All Sangha members are encouraged to come to the temple midweek for that. There's also an early morning sitting for members on Sunday from 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. with breakfast after that. Qigong is every Monday evening from 6:30 to 8. Qigong is a 4,000-year-old traditional Chinese medicine practice that blends with intentional movement, meditation, and breathing. It releases stagnation of energy, allowing the body to better heal itself. Every Tuesdays, starting at 6:30, is with Yoga with David Black. Beginning and experienced students learn traditional yoga postures with an emphasis on relaxation, concentration, and working with the breath. Our next beginner Zen retreat, overnight meditation class is going to be March 27th and 28th. It includes simple stretching exercises, work with the breath, meditation postures, concentration, and mindfulness practice. It's everything you need to know to support your own home practice and prepare you for temple membership. We're going to have an art and meditation retreat, April 8th to 12th. I'm looking at that. 4 days and 3 nights of arts, crafts, meditation, and Dharma, strengthening your practice and getting in touch with your creative side. And for more details about any of these, you can talk to the people in the gray. And there are sign-up sheets out in the lobby if you want more information. Our temple is entirely supported by your generous donations. There's a fishbowl out in the lobby, plus a PayPal QR code and an electronic credit card device. I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, he had to leave already. Dharma Recovery meets at noon, I think, in the yellow building over here. Yes, in the library, going through the front door.